Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Should BC get tough with Trump? The approach so far has been to appease Donald Trump's border demands to try and stave off threatened tariffs. But Ontario Premier Doug Ford, well, he's been talking tough himself. So what should be BC and Canada's approach going forward? We'll hear from a former advisor to the Prime Minister's office. Plus, do you indulge in mocktails during the holidays? We'll get some tips for holiday drinks minus the alcohol content. That's in half an hour. I'm Michelle Elliott. Welcome to BC Today. This afternoon, Premier David Eby will hold an unrelated news conference, but he will likely get asked about BC's response to U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's threat of a 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican goods unless both countries increase border security. Premiers met with the Prime Minister yesterday to discuss the border plan, but Ontario Premier Doug Ford has already been speaking up. And he's not mincing words. He's threatening to cut off Ontario's energy supply that powers 1.5 million homes in states like Michigan, Minnesota, and New York. And Ford this morning spoke of retaliatory tools.
A list together, along with the federal government, and all the premiers are putting a list together. We'll compile that list, have conversations with Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, and we'll move forward. But we can't just roll over as we're being under attack and hurting our families and our jobs. We just want to send a message. When it comes to the U.S., I want to send them more electricity. I want to send them critical minerals. I want to make sure that we have fair trade going back and forth across the border. That's what I want to do, and support them any way we can. They aren't our enemies. They're our allies. And every single governor and senator and congresswoman and men that I speak to, they agree. I'll be speaking to both governors of Michigan and New York today, and I'm sure they share our same thoughts and values about giving them more electricity if they need it. That's the last thing we want to do. Would we do it? Let's wait and see.
A different tack, though, in Alberta, where this morning Premier Danielle Smith announced $29 million to shore up security at the border.
It doesn't mean that Alberta intends or wants to act alone when it comes to securing the border. We'll obviously keep working closely with our federal counterparts at the Canada Border Services Agency, as well as the RCMP. We will start filling the ranks of the border teams as soon as possible. Our goal is to have the interdiction patrol unit up and running by early next year. Together with federal law enforcement, we'll ensure that our section of the American border is well protected. We'll deny safe haven to criminals looking to operate in both countries. And if we succeed and maintain proper border security, I expect we will have a very strong relationship with the United States, as we always have.
In a few minutes, we'll take your calls. You can call in and let us know, how should BC and Canada react to Trump's tariff threats? Does BC need to get tougher with Trump? Call us, 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. You can hit pound 690 on your cell phone. You can also email bctoday@cbc.ca. Joining me now is Roland Paris, Professor of International Affairs and the Director of the Graduate School of Public and International Affairs at the University of Ottawa, and a former Senior Advisor on Foreign Policy to the Prime Minister. Good afternoon. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Michelle.
Doug Ford has been making headlines of late, whether it's commissioning advertising to the U.S. About Ontario and about the relationship between the two countries, or commenting on Donald Trump's social media posts, and now these threats to cut off energy supply to the states. And what do you make of his approach?
Well, I think it can be very helpful to have the provincial premiers engaging with their counterparts in the United States, just as it was helpful during Trump's first term to have mayors of Canadian cities and labor leaders and business leaders communicating with their counterparts in the United States. What's not so helpful is to have premiers making declarations about Canadian policy and then basically disagreeing with each other in public. There is only one government in this country that is constitutionally empowered to conduct foreign affairs, and that's the federal government. And I would hope the premiers would, at the very least, try to coordinate their messages a little bit better.
And how does that then, I mean, we contrast it with Premier Danielle Smith saying she would prefer diplomacy over threats. How then do we go ahead with this, Team Canada approach?
Well, it's going to be a lot harder this time around. I mean, for a couple of reasons. One is we're at a different point in our political cycle here in Canada. So Justin Trudeau was much earlier in his mandate the first time around. And secondly, I think there was a measure of kind of initial shock at Trump's election the first time around. So I don't expect the same degree of unity. But on the other hand, to have one premier saying we're going to cut off energy, potentially cut off electricity supplies to the United States, the other premier saying that she's opposed to the idea of even retaliatory tariffs, no matter what the United States does, it's like we're dividing and conquering ourselves before we've even engaged in a negotiation. Doesn't make any sense. They should get in their lanes.
What might we expect from the Prime Minister on this? What we've heard so far, in light of yesterday's meeting, was this plan on border security, border measures, using helicopters and drones. And that's what we heard from Dominic LeBlanc. But what then should be the next steps that Justin Trudeau takes?
Well, from my understanding is that when we saw that the Prime Minister went down and spoke to Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and when it's not exactly clear what Donald Trump wants, but when he's talked about it in relation to Canada, he's talked about two things: border security and fentanyl. And so what the federal government seems to be poised to do is to invest a lot in additional border security measures, and perhaps also in measures to disrupt any shipment of fentanyl, which is actually a good thing for Canada anyway. We want secure borders. We want to disrupt fentanyl supply, which is a huge problem, especially in BC. And I think the hope is to, in a sense, test Trump, to say, listen, we've taken really significant steps in the areas that you have expressed concern about. Now, let's talk about working together in other areas. The hope is he doesn't go ahead with a 25% tariff on Canada. If he does, we also need to be prepared for that. And that includes having contemplating the possibility of retaliatory tariffs.
How far will diplomacy go in this case, do you think?
Well, it could go very far. I mean, this is how we've traditionally dealt with issues with the United States, is through probably we're the country with the most sophisticated and extensive outreach and advocacy networks in the United States. And the United States political system is sprawling and big. There's points of influence all over the place in Washington, at the state and local levels, and business. And so what Canada has traditionally done very well is to identify potential allies, identify people at the state level, local level, identify people who have the ear of whoever the president might be, and to conduct a really sophisticated, effectively, it's not lobbying, but it is the equivalent of lobbying. And when it works well, it works very well. And there's lots of interest in the United States that would be hurt by a tariff war with Canada, even just by a U.S. tariffs on Canada. So that work is happening right now, too. And I'm sure that the hope is to be able to head off the worst by activating all of those interests.
At the same time, as you said, we have to be, or Canada has to be prepared for any retaliatory tariffs if the U.S. tariffs come to fruition. Does that help things? We hear sort of what happened last time around when Canada did have retaliatory tariffs on U.S. steel. Does that help things, or do things just kind of spiral when you have a trade war?
Well, it's always, nobody wants a trade war. And especially nobody wants a trade war with a bigger partner. On the other hand, the last time around, I think you're referring to the U.S. tariffs on imports of steel and aluminum. And what Canada did and what the European Union did, what some other countries did, was impose retaliatory tariffs that were proportionate. So basically the same amount of trade was affected, but they were targeted to specific sectors, specific districts, specific areas, meant to have political effects. So, you know, this, you have to think about the diplomacy side and the possibility of retaliatory tariffs together, because what you're looking at is a whole system and you're trying to find points of leverage within that system. In the end, if this escalates, it would be bad for Canada. It would also be very bad for the United States. So I certainly hope it doesn't get to that point. But we can't take it off the table. That would be unilateral disarmament. That's what Danielle Smith is proposing, and it doesn't make any sense before we've even gotten to the table.
So, given that, and given what we've been hearing from Doug Ford, how do you think, if you were to have the Premier Eby's ear, what might you say? How should BC move forward?
Well, I think that what he's been saying so far has been very good. He's talked about the danger of tariffs, U.S. tariffs on Canada. How that would hurt Americans, it would hurt Canadians. He's talked about the need for an all-Canadian approach. I mean, he may be tempted because some of his premier colleagues are speaking up and making these, very strong statements about Canadian foreign policy and disagreeing with each other. He may be tempted to weigh into that debate, but I think that what I hope is that that everyone recognizes that while we should expect there to be different opinions and different opinions to be expressed, when you're talking about disagreement in public between premiers about whether tariffs are needed at all, whether energy should be blocked or never blocked or whatever, that hurts the Canadian negotiating position. There's a reason that we don't have 11 foreign ministers in this country. If we wanted 11 foreign ministers, we would have written that into our constitution. That's not our system of government. So I hope that he resists the temptation to weigh into what is an unhelpful debate that's emerging among some premiers.
Really good to speak with you and get your perspective on this today. Thank you for your time.
Great talking to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Roland Paris, Professor of International Affairs, the Director of the Graduate School of Public and International Affairs at the University of Ottawa, and a former Senior Advisor on Foreign Policy to the Prime Minister. I'm taking your calls on this, asking you, how should BC and Canada approach the Trump tariff threat right now? And do you think BC needs to get tough? We've heard from Doug Ford that this is, he said we can't roll over when it comes to Donald Trump. Well, what do you think of that? 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. Anthony is on the line in New Westminster. Hi, Anthony.
Hello. I don't think we should start making Doug Ford is.
Okay.
Danielle Smith is a little more firm and calm-headed on this. The bottom line here is Trump is using tariffs as a negotiating tool. What we need to do is tighten up our borders, prevent terrorists from going both ways, illegal human smuggling going both ways, and tighten up the borders for drugs. So Canada needs to start inspecting all ships, trucks, etc., going both ways to catch human smuggling, drugs, terrorists, etc. If we tighten up our borders the way Trump wants, I don't think Trump would attack Canada. He's got bigger beasts with Mexico right now. So I think right now we should have a united front in Canada and not showing our cards yet. I think that's foolish to show our cards right now, like Doug Ford is doing. And
how unhelpful do you think that is? How unhelpful do you think that is, Anthony?
Well, we need to have a united front in Canada. Like the gentleman, the speaker said before you, we can't have 11 foreign ministers negotiating on this. We need one united voice, and we shouldn't show our cards before the time is necessary. If Trump does slap us with a 25% tariff, then we'll have to do something serious. And if we want to withhold energy, I mean, that's a big play card. But at this time, let's do what Mr. Trump wants. Okay, he wants the border tight, and that's for drugs, human smuggling, and terrorists. So if we fulfill all that, I think Mr. Trump will be relatively congenial to this. This is a negotiating ploy. This is the art of the deal, as he calls it. So he's asking big, and let's see what we give. Period.
Anthony, great to hear from you. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Rajesh is next. Rajesh in Victoria is next. Hello, Rajesh.
Hello.
Hi, and what do you think?
How are you?
I am well. Thanks for calling. What should be the approach here in BC?
Well, I believe I'll be echoing previous callers' note, but with less diplomatic language. I believe that Donald Trump is a bully. He will find a way to bully us no matter what we do. By all promises, running around, spending taxpayers' money, buying all the gadgets, drones, helicopters. We have big borders. Let's be honest. It's hard to protect those. He'll find a way to bully us. We have to be united. We have to stay strong as Canada and not take his threat seriously. He's not even in power yet. Why are we spending billions of dollars?
So you're
Why
saying
do we come up with black? Yes, sorry.
it's not a wise use of those resources then to shore up security at the border.
No, because we don't even know what he might change. We know that he's a ticking time bomb. He'll change his mind. He'll pick something else. Today it's migrants, drugs. He always connects migrants and drugs, which is, we all know it's a racist thing to say. There's other people who move drugs besides migrants. He's a bully. We need to stay united, come up with plan A, cost analysis, exit strategy, execution strategy, plan B. Yes, we're going to obey what he says. This is how we're going to do it. We can't just run around. Danielle Smith is spending $29 million on helicopters. We're in the buying frenzy. We're just clicking to buy right now. Well, let's just get together. We're Canada. We're one country, one team. And we say, you know what? That's how. We can't just go on Fox News and advertise and threaten. I do agree with Premier Mr. Ford, but we have to be together. We can't just send mixed messages.
Mixed messages. Rajesh, thank you so much for your call and asking you what your thoughts are with regard to how BC, how Canada should deal with the threat of tariffs that U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has brought up. And in light of that, this week, a lot of headlines. Doug Ford in Ontario has been speaking to U.S. media, issued advertising in the United States to try and speak to the public there, and talking about the possibility of cutting off energy supply, mostly electricity, to U.S. states that get their energy from Ontario, saying that's a threat that he is putting forward. Meanwhile, this morning, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith was saying we're going to spend this money, $29 million, on increasing security at the border. Asking you what should be BC's approach. We're going to wait to hear from Premier David Eby this afternoon. Right now, Saul is on the line in Vancouver. Hi, Saul.
Hi, how are you?
I am fine. Thanks so much for calling. And what then do you think should be our approach?
Well, I'm not exactly sure BC. I just wanted to make 2 points. And I mean, I agree with everything that the professor said earlier. But the 2 points are, and it's been raised before, Donald Trump is into the art of the deal. And you come on strong, you come on loud, and you raise the conditions to create a better deal for yourself, the Americans. But some of what he's saying is not unreasonable. We've had a very open immigration policy. We have a kind of openish border. So he's making these suggestions. And the other point is about various premiers speaking out individually. I think there's well awareness that Trump and the U.S. government is not particularly fond of Justin Trudeau and respectful of the federal government's approach to a number of things. So the premiers, conscious of this, are speaking out, and some of them are saying intelligent things. Ford is saying, we can retaliate. Danielle Smith is saying, we can cooperate and we can work things out. So they present, to me, an intelligent response to what is conceivably a real threat. But part of the threat is just Trump setting up a thing so that there'll be a more favorable negotiation. And again, I think his disrespect for the current administration federally is causing partly why he's doing what he's doing, and it's also provoking the premiers.
The premiers as well. Can I just go back to your point about the border? When you say open, we have stats that show, compared to Mexico, really, Canada's border when it comes to migrant crossings and fentanyl making it down to the U.S. is not a comparison. It's sort of apples and oranges and minuscule in comparison to that. So to Rajesh's point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, we've seen, I think 10 million or more people streaming across the American border, people don't even know who these people are, exactly where they're from,
Okay.
and the drugs coming in and the cartels. We don't have anything like that, but we do have a very long, unguarded, really, border. I think, it's just the situation in the states, in the southern states, has made it more, has brought more of an attention to border control.
Saul, really good to hear from you as well. Thank you.
Right.
Take care. Mary is next now in Souk. Hi, Mary.
Hi, I may be in Souk now, but I'm a recent arrival from the Yukon Territory. So that's part of Canada?
Go ahead, Sen. In light of your experience, what do you want to share?
The Alaska Highway is critical to economic and military development in Alaska. There are unmarked trucks that go up the highway regularly, and I would suggest that a work to rule, so to speak, campaign by Canadian inspectors and in various means, like, for example, examining the trucks themselves or examining the cargo.
As a kind of retaliatory measure?
I beg your pardon?
As a kind of retaliation?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Mary,
The Alaska Highway was built mostly by the United States, but it is in Canada, and Canada does have control over it.
Mary, thank you for the call. Shelley is our last caller on this. I just have about 45 seconds, but go ahead, Shelley.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for this conversation today. I just want to say that borders need to be tightened up. I mean, no matter how it's done, it needs to be done. All the provinces need to come together and start, like, really getting serious about this. They're wasting time and resources. Like, this is Canada. They need to come together and get it together. And speaking as a mother who lost my son, my only child, from fentanyl in January of 2022, have you seen the downtown east side? Have you seen the 10 cities? Have you seen the level of what we're facing, the crime? We don't see it yet, but it's coming, and it's here, right? And it's insanity.
Shelley, I'm so sorry for your loss, and you're saying tackle those issues. And I'm sorry that you've been affected by the opioid crisis. I'm sorry for the loss of your son. That's Shelley in Vancouver. Thank you for calling. Thanks for all of your thoughts on this. bctoday@cbc.ca is our address. 12:28 now. Thanks so much for making the season kind. We have been fundraising for food banks in BC, Food Banks BC, and right now, $1.6 million has been raised for Food Banks BC. Last Friday's special 3-hour show was a blast to be part of. We've been asking for your stories of kindness too, and we got this email. Last Friday, I went in for a combined flu and COVID vaccination, but on Saturday, I began to feel ill, realized I was having a reaction to the vaccinations. I knew I had a fever, but when I tried to take it, found the thermometer battery was dead. I also knew I should take Tylenol, but when I checked mine, I found it was expired. I live alone and could not reach friends in the building who could help, so I called the closest pharmacy and asked if I could get a new thermometer, a box of Tylenol. As I was too sick to go out, wanted it delivered, the pharmacist said they don't do that, but understanding the situation, brought it to me personally. I couldn't believe it, but a few minutes later, she came to my door with a new thermometer and Tylenol and a bag of fruit she had bought at her own expense. The kindness alone was remarkable. I couldn't thank her enough. I told her she was my guardian angel, that she should be recognized, and I will try to ensure her pharmacy knows they're fortunate to have her. Please share this story to show that even in difficult times, kindness still persists, and anyone can be a guardian angel. Frank, thank you for your email. This is BC Today here on CBC. We're live on Radio 1, CBC Television, and live streaming on cbc.ca/BC, as well as on YouTube. Just search for CBC British Columbia. I'm Michelle Elliott. Very good to be with you. And coming up in our next half hour, we are going to talk about holiday mocktails. Yes, there are more and more people who are indulging in non-alcoholic drinks, would like them to be more fancy, more complex. And so there is more of a trend towards those kinds of drinks. So we're going to get some tips on how to make mocktails at home for the holidays. And we want to hear from you as well. What are some mocktails you've been enjoying? Do you think they need to be more available throughout the season too? That's coming up after this CBC News Update with Rob Zimmerman.
Good afternoon. Police have released details about a suspicious death in Vernon earlier this week. The body of 55-year-old Corey Fragan was found Monday in a wooded park near 31st Avenue. There's no word on a possible motive or arrests. A search is on for a skier missing at Sun Peaks Resort. 68-year-old Thomas Yaholkowski hasn't been seen since Tuesday morning. Since the end of November, 3 skiers have been lost at Sun Peaks. The other 2 were found safe. And Nature Conservancy Canada says it has added a new conservation area along the Rocky Mountain Trench here in BC. It says the move was made because wildlife in the region, including grizzlies, have been shrinking in population. The organization says the area next to Kootenay National Park also links to a network of other protected lands. And now the forecast on the north coast. A chance of showers this afternoon with a high of 8, a high of -4, mainly cloudy in the Peace. In the central interior, including Prince George, mainly cloudy with a high of 0. Highs from -4 to 0 and cloudy in the Kootenays. In the southern interior, including Kelowna, mainly cloudy with a high of -1. And for Metro Vancouver, Greater Victoria, and the Fraser Valley, a chance of showers this afternoon with highs around 7. That's your CBC News Update from Vancouver.
Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
That's Rob Zimmerman in the CBC Vancouver newsroom. And you're with BC Today here on CBC. I'm Michelle Elliott. Thank you so much for joining us this Thursday afternoon. And of course, throughout the afternoon, lots more on the day's top stories on the shows in your region. Here's what's coming up in Metro Vancouver on the Coast.
Michelle, hi there. It's Gloria Makarenko here. And I know you're aware that Vancouver's Mayor Ken Sim introduced a motion this week to find out how the city can incorporate Bitcoin into its finances. The mayor says he will personally donate $10,000 worth of Bitcoin as a gift to the city. Now, Mayor Sim is going to be our guest on the show this afternoon. Also today, our financial columnist, Mark Ting, is going to be here. He's going to talk about frauds and scams and other financial issues some of his own clients have run into in this past year. And our Soapbox Social panel, Mo, Amir, and Kyla Lee, they're going to be here for the final appearance of the year. So we're going to look back at some of the biggest stories of the year together. I hope you can join us between 3 and 6 for On the Coast.
Gloria, thank you very much. Lots of emails coming in on how BC and how Canada should approach Donald Trump, the U.S. president-elect's threat of tariffs. Don writes, Canada needs to find the political equivalent of the rock David used to defeat Goliath. Gail writes, I believe all these ideas, plans, and possible actions should be discussed behind closed doors. No more media scrums. I agree. Stay in your lane. Trump relishes all the attention he's getting, and he'll just keep upping the ante. And Joan writes, I agree we should be tougher, but collectively as one government. I think Trump is a bully, and what bullies do, they keep pushing for more and more. Thank you so much for your emails. bctoday@cbc.ca. It is the holiday season, and with that, it brings us the time to clink glasses, celebrate with friends, colleagues, and family, and enjoy a cozy beverage or two. Did someone say eggnog? Today, we are diving into the vibrant world of mocktails and alcohol-free drinks. Yes, it is a growing trend. So we're looking to ask you whether you enjoy a sophisticated sip without the buzz or simply want to explore creative, flavorful beverages. We'll be delving into these over this next half hour, and you can call us now. Are you indulging in mocktails this holiday season? Have you been exploring the mocktail world? And would you like to see more non-alcoholic drinks made available at holiday events? You can call us now, 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733, and you can also hit pound 690 on your cell phone. You can email us, bctoday@cbc.ca. And joining me now is Angela Hansen. She's the owner of Mocktails, which is an alcohol-free liquor store in Vancouver. Hello, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
An alcohol-free liquor store.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Basically, it's everything plus more that you could find in your local liquor store, but it's all alcohol-free. Or alcohol. So the highest you're going to find is like a 0.5, which is considered non-alcoholic.
Oh, wow. How did you get interested in this?
It all started for personal reasons. So I decided to get sober after struggling for a few years and watching my family, just dynamics with alcohol. So when I got sober, I was honestly looking for myself.
Yeah.
And I found this world, and it was incredible. And there was nothing out there that was readily available. That was all like exclusively non-alcoholic. So,
right.
Yeah.
And is it just me, or have I seen more and more options over the last couple of years?
Oh no, it's definitely true. It makes choosing not to drink or reduce your consumption so much easier when we have all these incredible products to choose from. And you're right, it's growing rapidly.
Why do you think that is?
I think we're just more aware of like what the harmful effects that alcohol actually has on us. And I think with the younger generation, there's a lot more like self-awareness about the effects, like mental health effects and stuff that are happening that are caused by alcohol. And I think there's just more awareness around it.
Yeah.
And I think also having the selection in the products that we have does make that a lot easier for people.
Yeah, I have to say, I drink probably 3 times a year as well, but it's nice to see on a menu just more options coming up. So if you'd like to see, drink something with a flower on top that isn't alcoholic, it's there. What are some of your favorites?
So one of my favorites is wine. Like I was always a wine drinker, and the fact that these products have been de-alcoholized, so it's the same grape, same fermentation process, it really retains that flavor and that fullness that we want from our wine, or the acidity from the whites. So wine is one of my top favorite.
And is the quality there?
Absolutely.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
really
if
is.
you say you drank wine before and you say they're as good or as tasty without the alcohol, wow, that's pretty
Definitely.
impressive.
Yeah. And then there's adaptogens is a huge market too. Like that's coming onto the market. So
What's that?
it's functional beverages. So they add things like stuff like ashwagandha, lion's mane, L-theanine, like back into the drink. So not only are you removing something harmful, you're adding something quite useful back into your system.
And do these drinks come ready-made, or do you mix them at your store?
So it both. So there's a lot of RTDs, which is ready to drinks that are available. We have them cold and we have them on the shelves ready to go, as well as all the spirits. We have the rums and the whiskeys, the gins, the tequilas, everything. So you can become your own mixologist, and all the syrups, everything you could imagine, we have it.
Angela, what do you hear from your customers?
A lot of gratitude. A lot of my customers, they walk in and first they just love the space, the decor, the interior. It's very warm. It's very inviting. And they're just really grateful that we exist. And it's kind of like when we first opened our doors, it was a lot of like, it's about time.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for something like this. So it's just a lot of closeness, a lot of inclusion.
And not having to explain why you're looking for a non-alcoholic drink.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I hear that a lot, just to have to say, here's why, or getting the question, well, why not? Or,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would love to hear from our audience too. Let us know if you're exploring the mocktail world, the non-alcoholic drink world. Are you looking to indulge in those kinds of drinks this holiday season? And do you want to see more of them as you celebrate? 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. And you can hit pound 690 on your cell phone. You can email us too if you have any favorite recipes. Love to see those on the email, bctoday@cbc.ca. In fact, we're going to get a special treat. We're going to find out and learn a rum and nog recipe in just a moment here. I'm excited. I am an eggnog lover. Let's take a call now from Cody and Trail. Hi, Cody.
Hello, Michelle.
Nice to talk to you. And do you do dry January or anything like that?
I do that because I had a brother who was an alcoholic, and I tend to not go for the alcoholic drinks.
Okay. Do you have any favorites?
I do. Well, mine would be Virgin Pina Colada or Roy Rogers or Shirley Temple. Any of those fancy, any of the things where you can just simply put pop and grenadine together.
Nice.
Or Virgin Pina Colada or any of those.
Oh, you said pina colada. That just takes me away to some beach somewhere.
Well, you can do it without, you could do it if you didn't want to do it with coconut rum, you could do it with coconut shavings and whipped cream and still do it that way. Make it less thing because the reason why I do the dry months is because I don't want to have to hear of people getting killed by drunk drivers.
That's a big issue.
Why I do and that's why I do the dry months is so I don't end up like my brother, because he died at 57 4 years ago, and I don't want to end up like him.
Everyone has their reasons, and I'm sorry for your loss, Cody. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
Michelle.
Christmas to you, Cody. Any suggestions for making virgin pina coladas?
We actually have the rums. So we have the grenadines. We have everything that you would need in the non-alc form to make your own pina coladas, for sure.
Non-alc. Yeah, I'm learning the terminology here. Erin is next in Vernon. Hi, Erin.
Hi.
Thank you so much for calling. And so tell us, are you someone who enjoys a mocktail?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I've been sober for about 18 years and drinking non-alcoholic beverages for about 13 of those. And lately they've come out with all kinds of new mocktails and de-alcoholized drinks. And I love it. I love that I have a chance to go out and try craft beers and mocktails and things like that now. Yeah.
Yeah. And was it hard when you started 13 years ago?
Yeah, there was really not a lot offered. There was a lot of the Molson X, which I don't really like, but I loved Beck's. Beck's with a lime was awesome, but that was there wasn't a lot of options.
Yeah. Do you have any favorites now?
Yes. I wanted to share that my favorite is Edna's brand Paloma.
Yeah.
Angela's nodding her head here. Yeah, that's what is that?
It's a mocktail. It's a Paloma. It's, I believe, grapefruit and lime maybe, and a bit of ginger maybe. I'm not entirely sure what's in it, but it's really good. And I've had other Palomas by other brands, and they taste kind of watered down. But Edna's brand, it's worth the extra couple bucks.
Oh, there you have it. And are you going to enjoy some over the holidays then?
Likely. Likely, yeah. And you know what? Even the President's Choice red wine, I know you think President's Choice red wine, like the alcoholized wine, it's got to be terrible, right? But no, it's the best. I've tried all the red wines, and President's Choice is my favorite.
Okay, there you go. She's one vote for the President's Choice red wine. Just make your way over. Erin, so great to hear from you. Congratulations on 18 years.
Thank you.
That's Erin in Vernon. Okay, the Paloma. Any favorite? Edna's. She's what she says. Yeah.
Edna's is wonderful, and they're a local brand as well. They do the mojitos. They just came out with the mezcalita, which is nice and smoky, salty. Yeah, they make wonderful mocktails.
How do you make up for the complexity, like the sort of, like she said, there's ginger in there? Are there flavors that are really hard to get when you don't use alcohol?
Yeah, so they recreate the burn. So they add different things like capsaicin or with the tequila, they'll do, like jalapeno and cayenne. So you really get the experience along with the flavor profile, which is really exciting. And once you mix a spirit, it's very hard to tell, because it just adds that last layer to your drink that's missing from a lot of like the virgin drinks, right? It's just missing that agave or that rum, that flavor. So
it just tastes
it's a game changer.
Otherwise, yeah. Well, let's. I'll put out the numbers again, and we have an array here of things to try and show you, and we're gonna get a demonstration or two. So let's put out the numbers to 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. Let us know if you're someone who's been exploring the world of mocktails and non-alcoholic drinks. What's something that you enjoy? If you have a question too for how to create that special drink without the alcohol content, give us a call. You can hit pound 690 on your phone or 604-669-3733 and email us to bctoday@cbc.ca. My guest is Angela Henson, owner of Mocktails in Vancouver on Commercial, right?
Commercial Drive.
I have seen it. All right. So rum and eggnog. Tell us what you've got there.
Okay, so I noticed the rum is missing. So if you don't mind, I'm going to grab it from the box.
And I see you have a helper there.
Yeah.
Why don't I take a call while you're doing that, because I think that is a big part of the recipe. Bonnie is on the line. Bonnie's on the line in Nelson. Hi, Bonnie.
Oh, I'm just great. I did my stand-up last night to great applause.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, but they always give you a drink ticket. So I've been trying to cut down on my drinks. So I made up a special drink. Everybody in Nelson knows now, because I used to get too drunk on wine, and I don't want to do that anymore. And so I use a jig of, one shot of scotch, not scotch, I hate scotch, rye, and a little bit of sweet sauce, and a lot of seltzer and glass. I just cut down. So a mocktail from that simply takes out the booze.
Nice. So you've got seltzer and
it would be a flavored, it's like the things you can buy. Like, I don't buy any of these things. I make everything.
Yeah.
And so you could just, it used to be drink a lot and get drunk and stuff. I never had a hangover, but I did that. And now a glass of wine and I get too drunk, so I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I did a KCR comedy thing, and the woman there took me out to have during hamburger month and give me a free hamburger.
Bonnie,
and we just stand up together. Anyway, no, that's the way you can do it.
Just
you
take it out.
Any
Yeah,
drink that you like, and unless it's wine.
Yeah, well, we've heard of new options. Apparently, President's Choice makes a good one. But I like that a lot, seltzer, because I do like things that have a fizz. And so I tried something, actually. I think it was ginger ale and Sprite. And boy, that was delicious. So as simple as that. Why don't you tell us first, like, you've got some really lovely bottles here. Why don't you just go down the line, if you don't mind, Angela?
Yeah, I would love to. So I brought with me, obviously, the rum. This is a rum from Montreal.
Okay.
It's called HP Spiced Rum. And we're going to mix that with some eggnog for you. We also brought the Noah, another Montreal brand. This is an Aperol alternative.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that taste.
When we pop our bottle of bubbly, we can show what it's like with, and then you can make your own spirits. We also
bringing me back to summer.
I know. And it's that season, right? We want to have celebratory kind of like fun, different drinks and partake with everyone else. Down at the end here, we have some of my adaptogens, Kin, Bon Buzz, Curious Elixir. So those are the functional beverages that I was speaking about.
Yeah.
We have High Tea at the end here, which is another local brand, fantastic drink. And then a gin and tonic, ready to go.
Just open it up.
Yeah, and they also make the gin, the spirit. So yeah, there's so many options. I wish I I did bring more, and I wish I could bring more, but there's only so much room.
Yeah, exactly. Our table can only handle so much.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this spiced rum with the eggnog then. So what are the proportions?
Okay, so you would treat it just like you would just like it would you would have alcohol. If you like 2 ounces or you prefer 1 ounce, right? If you like yours a little bit stronger, I'm more than happy to do that for you.
I can't say I've had rum and eggnog.
Oh,
I'm trying to think. I don't think I have.
so this is the rum I was speaking of.
Okay.
So we'll
It really has that beautiful color too. Very
it
deep.
does. And before I add the eggnog, I'm gonna let you just have to smell it. Okay.
Okay. Just smell.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I need to swirl it or
Yeah,
anything?
and if you want to taste it on its own too, you're more than welcome. It's really, really beautiful.
Oh wow, it's really that deep sweetness.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can smell the syrupiness. It's light though.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it tastes like it does have alcohol, but it doesn't.
Yeah, because they with the HP, they're very good at adding that spice. So
Yeah,
you
there's
do-
a spot. I really feel it on the roof of my mouth.
Yeah.
It's up there.
So you get that whole experience. And then here's just a little bit for you.
I do love eggnog. I mean, it's like there's no holiday season without eggnog, in my opinion. Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I love how it's so light, and this eggnog is very light, I have to say.
Yeah, it's a great brand.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Thank you so much.
Non-alcoholic rum and eggnog. Beautiful. Just sweet enough, not too sweet, not too heavy, not too creamy. And really, I can taste that spice. I really could taste that spice in the rum. Let's take another call. We are going to take Michaela in Fernie asking you about mocktails. Are you exploring the world of mocktails lately? And is that something you're indulging in this holiday season? Would you like to see more options? There have been a lot. It's been an explosion over the last couple of years. Our numbers again, 1-800-825-5950. 604-669-3733. Hello, Michaela.
Hi.
Thanks so much for calling. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say I did a sober year for my hormones and just to kind of take a break and balance out my body and see how my sleep went and everything. And it was great. My athletic performance went up. My sleep was super good.
Wow.
And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I think the most important part is when you're with your friends, just having something nice because I didn't want those fun, like, happy hours to end, right?
Right. You still want to socialize. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so we would still have, like, happy hour. And one thing that really stuck with me was I made a Sleepy Girl mocktail, I call it. And so it had tart cherry juice and, like, a little bit of ginger beer or lemon lime pop, a little healthy gut pop, and some lime. And it really helps with your sleep because the melatonin. So it was awesome. Yeah.
Wow. Hence the sleepy girl. You were all about sleep. This was the theme for this year.
Yeah, totally.
So have you made it for your friends too?
Yes, absolutely. My girls love that. And we put it in a wine glass so it feels like we're having a nice drink.
Oh, how nice.
That's really nice.
Oh, what a great girls' night out.
Yeah.
And do you feel now like, yeah, it's a lot more acceptable? I don't have to, face questions or explain myself, or I still can go out and enjoy a night out with my friends.
Yeah, everyone gets really used to it. Like, and I did explore like some of the fake gins and have like a gin and tonic and things like that. But then, yeah.
This is the one.
You could have fake gin and tonic, or like even by the end, I was happy just to have a tea with honey. So.
A tea, yeah. There's that as well. Here's to good sleep, Michaela. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Happy holidays to you. And our last caller is Mike at Kelsey Bay. Hi, Mike.
Hi there. I just had a quick question for your guest there, if it's not too late.
No, go ahead.
My mother likes Kahlua, so it's a coffee-flavored liqueur.
Yeah.
But everybody doesn't drink around me anymore because I used to drink too much. So I play around with a lot of mocktails and non-alcoholic beer and wine and stuff.
Nice.
We've never found anything that quite tasted like Kahlua.
Oh, that's a
So I
great
just
question.
wondered- yeah, I just wondered if she had anything in mind that is available in the market.
Yes, great question. Thank you so much, John.
I'm really excited about this question, actually, because Noah, the brand Noah, they have recently come out with a coffee liqueur. So we are eagerly waiting for its arrival. So that should be here any day. And it's delicious. They are a wonderful brand. We're excited about having this in our store.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it sounds like much awaited.
Yes, it has been. We're so ecstatic to have this, and it's so delicious. So it will help with that.
The brand is Noah, Mike, and we've got an Aperol type drink here, but that is coming for you. And it's really interesting to hear that this is kind of one area that's still up and coming when it comes to a non-alcoholic liqueur. Let's quickly take Bob in Vernon. Hi, Bob.
Hi.
Go ahead and tell me about your exploration of mocktails.
Well, it is the season, and I'm 38 days sober from drinking alcohol.
Wow, congratulations.
I had a big health issue, and the doctor basically told me, if you want to live, you got to quit drinking. It's your call. So I quit. I did 2.5 weeks in the hospital, hooked up the machines, and I haven't had a drink since. I'm a head chef at Boston Pizza in Vernon, and all my girls and all my staff are so proud of me because I packed it in. But I'm watching here, and I see all these yummy products.
Yeah, you're like, it's a whole new world.
Yeah. Well, and she tried the one flavor there, and she was funny because right away she's like, "Oh, it tastes like alcohol," but I don't want that.
Aha. You don't want the taste.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been drinking those Coronas, non-alcohol Coronas, and I've been doing Caesars with no alcohol in them, and I don't want to encourage myself to have something that tastes like,
because
you know
of
what I
the
mean, like booze.
Bob, I have to wrap it there, but I have to say congratulations to you. And yes, your staff and colleagues should be proud of you. Way to go. Way to go, taking your health into your hands there. I have 30 seconds left, but you've got some champagne. And let's wrap up on that.
We do. So let's try. This is the Eden Vale Sparkling Cuvée. This is out of Australia.
Wow. She's going to pop the champagne as we wrap up this segment. Angela Hansen, owner of Mocktails, the first alcohol-free liquor store on Commercial Drive.